taken full Lewis, lost a few games before it was called that they were losing the game before even 20 minutes hit. So SAJ on the other hand, it was they played really good games against UCAN HKA, but UCAN HKA still caused them a few hiccups and were able to take a game off them as well in that quarterfinal matchup. So it just shows Azubu Taipei Assassins they look like they're really confident coming into the semifinals and potentially grand finals if they're able to pick off this game against the Saigon Jokers.
And for these two teams, because things are so close between them, you know who will definitely be watching them? Taipei Snipers and AHQ Esports Club, who will be playing on Friday. They'll definitely want to see this game, starting up what both teams have installed, and eventually look at the team who will be going into the grand finals, because that's when the playoffs will matter. And like you mentioned, that is the 80K cash prize bounty being put in place for the Garena Premier League.
We did see in the quarterfinals that HQ Esports Club was able to sweep the Singapore Sentinels in a 3-0 victory. And same for the Taipei Snipers going up against Mineski. So those two teams will be playing in the semifinals as well on Friday, which will also be a best of 5. The winner will be going into the grand finals against the winner between this series between the Taipei Assassins and the Saigon Jokers. And the loser will be going up against the 3rd and 4th placing team, which will be between also Saigon Jokers and Taipei Assassins. So if TPA win this game, that will decide who will be the first team in the 3rd and 4th placing and the first team that will be going into the grand finals. And we see both teams kind of mirror each other in how they're going to start in the jungle.
Right, reminiscent in the past, they laid invades onto the blue buff here, and just feel like Safety will be able to take this out easily with the Consume as well as the Smite. So that will be a buff being taken over by Safety. It might be the buff trade-offs for both teams here, as Dinter now take away the blue buff on their end. And the thing I like about this matchup as well is that both Jay and Junie has opted to go for slightly different items, as we see Jay now going for that relic shield, so having the extra, goal in the pocket to go over to BB at this point of time. But it also goes to show that Jay wants to go for that face of the mountain, the extra shield for BB, whereas Junie just heavily favors the utility from the Talisman of Ascension more.
So we saw early on in the first game that when when we saw Safety, he was not able to counter out the red buff. He started at his red buff and then was not able to get the opposition's blue buff in the first game, and that allowed the Azubu Taipei Assassins to get a 3 buff start. However, in this game, we do see that he was able to start at the opposition's blue buff at the same time when Azubu Taipei Assassins tried to counter out his blue buff. So both champions will be getting a 2 buff start, as we do see now. He might be heading up into this top lane, could potentially get a gank off onto Archie very early on. As you do see, Archie's going to get into a little bit of trouble. He has to flash away from this one.
Right, Safety now giving chase with the red buff onto him as well, and with the snowball just catching everyone off, and Dinter will join into the fray, and Safety now taking relatively low with about a third of his HP remaining. QTV now has to back off from that one, and Dinter with the red buff sticking onto QTV. Will Dinter actually join in the fray? Does feel like between the fight of the War of Tanks, that would be the best exchange, I would say, for both teams.
QTV does not provide too much damage early on. They were able to permanently slow Rumble, but not get much else out of it. And right there we saw Safety went for both buffs. So he went for the opposition's blue and then went straight for his red, then ran all the way straight up to top lane after clearing out the minions. We see Jay that gets the flay away after the Zenith Blade, takes a ton of damage. He might actually get taken down.
But he might get taken down in the process. Now Archie putting on some hurt onto BB, and that was the exchange that we're talking about. And now Death Sentence landing onto Jay there, the Zap landing onto Jay as well, having about close to 1/4 of his HP left, and it was a very good exchange for Saigon Jokers down in the bottom lane as well.
Junie hit some crazy death sentences there. I mean, he did it in game 2 as well. He hit some amazing death sentences, and Archie responded to that fantastically. He even used the flay perfectly against Jay as well, as we do go into a replay of that one, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, sorry, we're not going to go into replay of that fight. So we're going to actually see bot lane right now. Junie played that out very fantastic. That's what we were talking about in the early game as well. If Junie can get some good flays off against the Zenith Blade coming in from Jay, we'll stop him from advancing onto this bottom lane. Safety is poised nearby for not much at all, and looks like he might potentially be able to help push for this bottom tower. We saw early on Safety, he went for both buffs early, so he was only level 2 when he went for the gank at the top lane. Dinter on the other hand hit level 3 and was able to counter gank much more efficiently.
Right, so both teams now, you know, resuming back to their old lane matchups. And actually, we do see Safety, like we mentioned, he's a different jungler when he plays that jungler Nunu, because he likes to go for that aggressive start that most jungler Nunus, they want to go for counter invades and counter jungles. It does look like he's extending his stay down into this bottom lane, and hopefully that pays out soon for him.
So we will be switching back to the caster's camera. If I'm not mistaken, we'll be switching back to the caster's camera as we keep trying to reconnect. Judy once again tries to land the depth sentence, not able to do so. We saw that Dinter tried to come down for a gank, but Safety was poised nearby to sort that one out. So the game right now between two teams is incredibly even. The gold is actually completely even, both of them hitting 7.4k right at the same time. All the lanes look fairly even as well. We do see Ziggs is beating out Orion in the mid lane by about 10 minion score. In the top lane we see Rumble is beating QTV by about 10 minion score as well. The jungle is fairly even. Jinx though, now we can see why Azubu Taipei assassins have been consistently banning Jinx. I mean, Archie has been devastating on this Jinx pickup.
And I think that Jinx pick just suits Archie in that sense, and I think the full terror of that Jinx pick will come into place once it goes into the team fight phase, because between both Saigon Jokers and Taipei Assassins, I would say even though there's a lot of lockdown from Taipei Assassins from both Leona and Oriana, but eventually Saigon Jokers, if they can find the right engage in, maybe once again find that death sentence engage that Junie excels in, then definitely Archie will be able to clean house.
So still very, very slow game between the two teams. This is how all three games have started out so far. It's only around the 8 to 10 minute mark where we see Azubu Taipei Assassins start to progress to try and make some plays against the Saigon Jokers, and also in game 2 when the Saigon Jokers were able to take a game off the Azubu Taipei Assassins, it was about the 12 to 13 minute mark where SAJ tried to make some plays to stop the slow momentum building coming in from Azubu Taipei Assassins.
And at this point in time, we want to just apologize to the viewers if there's no in-game sound, because the main computer has crashed and we are using the backup system to actually show you the match at this point of time, but we are resolving the issue relatively soon and hopefully that comes back online. And at this point of time, once again, down in the bottom lane, Junie with the aggressive positioning and is not too afraid of the Zenith Blade potential that Jay might put down onto both Archie and Junie at this point of time. And just feel like because of that, Archie has the superior zone control, and because of that, he has that 20 CS advantage over BB at this point of time.
So you can really see why Azubu Taipei Assassins wanted to ban out Jinx for 3 games in a row. Swapping that ban for the Olaf ban in this game itself. Did not want SAJ to first pick Olaf. Both of these teams have first picked Olaf in every single game they've played, and it has not been banned out. Actually, no, this will be the first game where Olaf is banned out, and straight away SAJ responded with that Jinx pickup. Jinx, Lucian, and several other incredibly strong attack damage carries or marksmen in this 2014 season so far. Sivir was banned out by the Saigon Jokers after a devastating performance coming from BB in game 1, and so far this bottom lane has become incredibly interesting because Archie, actually not even Archie, Junie is zoning out the AD carry and support from the Azubu Taipei Assassin, allowing Archie to follow up whenever he is able to connect with a good death sentence or flay, and then farm his life off pretty much.
Right, and the interesting thing as well is that even though Archie at this point of time he has that CS lead over BB at this point of time, the goal advantage still swings in favor of Taipei Assassins, and BB has to use the Relentless Pursuit to just dodge away from that death sentence. But once again, very aggressive playstyle from Saigon Jokers, and if they manage to keep this up, then I would say that once it goes into the fight phase, then everything will go in their favor.
Vi's position for a gank at the top lane as well. QTV only level 6 to the level 8 of Archie right now. He just finally hit level 7 this morning now, in a lot of trouble. Optimus will probably take him down to absolute 0, will do a lot of damage. Morning tries to flash out of that one, but First Blood will go to safety, and SAJ really starting to look like the team that played in game 2.
Right, so that is the advantage, and sorry, not the advantage, the aggressive playstyle that we were talking about for safety as the Nunu jungle. And this time around, QTV and Archie staying relatively quiet, but now we do see Archie coming out slightly on top against QTV. So having that Haunting Guise being completed on himself already, that would put a lot more hurt onto QTV.
So even though QTV is sort of losing in terms of media score. He's 20 media score behind Rumble. The bot lane is no different, but this time in favor of the Saigon Jokers. Archie and Junie, I have not seen a bot lane being zoned this much by a Korean Premier League team in a long time. Archie and Junie are doing a fantastic job of not allowing BB and Jay to get any form of positioning advantage there. And it's not like Azubu Taipei doesn't have some bad picks. I just felt like Jay will actually get locked down here. He's going to get stunned up. 3 stuns locking down. Safety's going to come in as well. He's ignited. Super Mega Depth Rocket will go down and take down Jay eventually there. But I felt like the Leona pick coming in from the Saigon Jokers was just not Saigon Jokers. So the Leona pick from the Taipei Assassins was not a very good pickup here.
Right, and getting instantly locked down from the combination of Junie as well as Archie down the mid lane, in the bottom lane is proving to be detrimental, as now we do see Saigon Jokers with the numbers advantage. They will take away Dragon, and that will further propel their goal lead to a good 1.2k. So even though it is 1 objective and 2 kills, Saigon Jokers still not having a huge goal difference. And I think if Taipei Assassins start to make full use of that picks that they have, and once Dinter hits the critical point where he can start ganking once again, then definitely they can find the picks that they need to snowball ahead.
So we can see, compared to the past few games, Azubu Taipei Assassins are still trying to go for this slow, methodical strategy. As Dinter goes in onto Archie, going to use his ultimate onto... There's the solo for Archie. Really has no way to escape from that gank. Good gank coming out from the Azubu Taipei Assassins. But as I was saying, Azubu Taipei Assassins, they cannot just slowly go for objectives with this team comp. They really need to start forcing objectives, as the Saigon Jokers have been doing in this game. And you can just look at the goal scorers. You see Archie now in a lot of trouble to the top lane.
Right, and with the snowball catching him in place as well, looks like Archie being overheated might not be able to do anything against the wall, and QTV secures that kill with the unstoppable force locking him down into place as well. So kill for kill, even though Dinter did make some impact down the bottom lane, but Safety once again roaming around with the mobility of the Blood Boy, and that would secure him that kill and the assist up in the top lane.
So as I was saying, if you just look at the gold score, but despite SAJ once again, just like game 2, they have looked like the stronger team in this game, but they're only 1,000 gold ahead of the Azubu Taipei Assassins. And what they did in game 2 was they consistently made the right plays and consistently pushed up against the Azubu Taipei Assassins, put them out of their comfort zone, and forced them to make decisions when they try to make plays against them. And that's what they've been doing this game. If they can keep it up, we probably have a repeat of game 2. However, if they start to slow down as they have in game 1 and game 3, Azubu Taipei Assassins will slowly once again creep up in terms of that gold score.
Right, and it's almost like Saigon Jokers capped this Nunu pick for this game number 4 in special preparation for Taipei Assassins, because actually for the most part we have seen Saigon Jokers Safety play that Nunu in the jungle, but he has not really pulled that out so far, instead prioritizing that Olaf pick instead. And this time around, having that Olaf in the lane, it has worked out pretty well for him. And now Jay going ham onto Junie at this point of time, and now Jay is caught out in a lot of trouble, with him taking close to about 50% HP there.
See, when Jay goes in with that Zenith play, he just gets punished so badly by Archie and Junie. The Death Sentence, the Flay, the Chompers getting put down, just lock him down for such an extended amount of time that allows both Junie and Archie to put down a lot of damage onto the support of the Azubu Taipei Assassins. And if they keep going in aggressively like that and not getting the aggressive Zenith blades that they need to land onto Archie, there's no way they can shut down this lane. And the lane is just slowly snowballing in favor of the Saigon Jokers.
Right, snowballing is an understatement, because Archie now has a good close to 30 CS advantage over BB at this point of time.
See, Relentless Pursuit was used there by Azubu Taipei Assassins. BB was able to jump out and away from the Death Sentence that was coming out from Thresh there. Junie actually flashed to get that Death Sentence off, was not able to land it, as we saw Safety was trying to come in for a gank down at the bottom lane.
Right, so at this point of time, we do see Junie trying to make something happen once again. The Death Sentence will now land onto Jay with the Chompers as well. It does feel like that is going to be one dead Jay there. Junie secures that kill onto him, but nevertheless, a kill is a kill. And once again, Saigon Jokers asserting their dominance down right into this bottom lane.
All the kills in the bot lane of the Saigon Jokers have been in the same fashion. And once again, now BB might get taken down here. He tries to flash away to pick up Junie, will not be able to do so. Junie lives with a sliver of health. Mid lane, no. Goodbye,
Right, it's a
Mr.
2-0-1, and now Optimus dashing out of the way and using that extensive minefield to just buy some time for himself. Will Dinter eventually get the Vault Breaker to pick up the kill onto him? And now Optimus is not going to be able to kind of survive up that one, so he will go down to Dinter in the process. But you know, down in the bottom lane, Archie just picked up the turret as well, so Saigon Jokers now having a 5-2 kill advantage and then having that one turret under the name, so propelling the goal lead to a good 2,000 goal.
So far, every time bot lane gets a kill for the Saigon Jokers, it's been in the same fashion. Zenith Blade comes out from JSVC, QTV goes aggressive onto Morning. Not many people nearby to help him out though. We're going to see Junie try to come around. QTV is going to still consistently pursue onto Morning, but don't think he has enough damage to do so. The flash over from QTV was also a bit questionable. Junie going to miss the death sentence though.
Right, but that was a pretty good play to try to keep Dinter down into place though. But between both Junie and QTV, even though they do have a lot of crowd control capabilities to lock everyone down into place, but you know, they don't have the necessary damage to follow up. And now Archie in the meantime was given free reign to do whatever he needed in the mid lane, and because of that he was able to pick up the mid lane turret. So once again, taking another objective away from Taipei Assassins.
So far all the kills down in the bottom lane, as I was trying to say, is that Zenith Blade will come out from Jay. The Flay will stop him from doing anything more, and the Death Sentence will pull him back. The lockdown from Archie with the Chompers afterwards, it's too much for Jay to handle. The Super Mega Death Rocket always securing the kill right at the end.
That's right, so now both teams, we do have some breathing space, and let's take a look at the difference in the items at this point of time. Now Archie, you know, opting to go for that early 0 as compared to what BB has opted to go for. He has decided to go for the Berserker Grooves, and actually now we do see some exchange down the mid lane, Safety throwing a snowball over to Morning at this point of time.
Safety doing a good job. This is the first time in all 4 games I've seen Safety really assert some map control early on, and so far his map control in the past 3 games have been a bit lackluster. The second game was a bit of an exception because he was in lane for the majority of the game, but this time he's been helping his team out a lot. So Dragonfly should probably take place in the second.
Right, this might be the first time we see some real contention for any objective, and there we go now, Junie catching someone in place with the death sentence as well. So the team fight breaks out, and Safety now keeps everyone into place with the absolute 0, and in the meantime Junie will go down at the side, and the Super Mega Death Rocket will secure the kill for Archie in the meantime. And now Optimus has to try to run away from Dinter, but he is unable to kind of just move away from the gap of that one, and Dinter will go with the Vault Breaker to secure the kill. And meanwhile QTV just given free reign up in the top lane, he will take it down in the meantime. And now Dinter trying to pick up the kill onto Archie, and Archie might be able to just survive and run away from that one, but do remember it's a 2-man chase onto him. The hit squad will want to chase onto him now. And there we go with the Harpoon now landing onto Archie. That is gonna be it for him, but nevertheless it was a 1-for-1 turret trade, but Taipei Assassins pick up the Dragon in the meantime. So at this point of time, equalizing the kill count a little bit, 7-6, but Saigon Jokers still has that superior turret control.
Now we see the goal score between the 2 teams is completely even, and that fight was fairly close between the 2 teams. You saw that BB and Dinter were alive with just a sliver of health after the fight, regenerating slowly due to the fact that it was quite an extended fight there. But SAJ did not have QTV in that fight, while Azubu Taipei did have Archie there, so it was a 4-on-5.
That's right, so I think Taipei Assassins with that one exchange down in the Dragon Pit, that's going to bring their goal lead slightly in their favor once again as they bring the goal count back. So, you know, just 19 minutes in, it's a relatively equal game so far. So the next, you know, big play coming in from both teams. And speaking of big plays, there we go with the Command Shockwave being chained together with the Equalizer as well as the Solar Flare. Taipei Assassins Archie will pick up that kill, and Dinter will pick up the subsequent kill onto Jay in the meantime, and there we go, tons of damage being popped down onto the side of SAJ. They turn this one around, so 2 kills in the favor of Archie at this point of time. Double kill now for Archie. Will they actually give chase onto Dinter at this point of time? QTV tries to chase onto him, and the Zap is not to connect onto him. The Vault Breaker will be enough to kind of save Dinter's life there.
SAJ played that fight out so fantastically. The combo of the Unstoppable Force, this Mega Inferno Bomb, and the Super Mega Death Rocket was enough to obliterate the remaining members of the Azubu Taipei Assassins, despite them being able to pick off 2 members of the Saigon Jokers early on. They were able to pick up Junie and Safety. That 3-man ultimate coming out from Archie, Optimus, and QTV just did so much damage, and it allowed Archie reset his passive so many times he just got right back into the fight right after he was able to pick up a kill. And that was a great turnaround from the Saigon Jokers.
This is the precise reason why Taipei Assassins have been constantly denying that Jinx away from Archie, and I think this time around they are feeling the pains of it, and they might want to look at it if it goes into game number 5. But nevertheless, the game is still pretty close, with Saigon Jokers now having a good 1,000 goal lead over Taipei Assassins, and they kind of need to keep this pressure up against them, because they have that turret advantage. They need to translate that into goal and then once again force a fight against the Taipei Assassins from what we've seen in game number 2.
There was some epic fights coming out there. I mean, the AZB TPA, they capitalized on positioning advantage, positioning disadvantage coming in from the Saigon Jokers. But SAJ, they turned around the fight with fantastic use of their ultimate. That was they literally obliterated the AZB Taipei Assassins. I was jaw dropped after that fight. It was amazing. Now Junie gets caught up by the solar flare.
Right, and now BB tries to jump into the fray, so the equalizer kind of splitting both Saigon Jokers, Safety and Junie apart, but nevertheless nothing was pretty much achieved, and there was a lot of big spells burned by Taipei Assassins here. They have to kind of play passively for the next minute or so to wait for their cooldowns to come back up before going for an aggressive pick once again like that.
So the goal is still incredibly even between the two teams. It's the first time 20 minutes has come by, and then QTV is going to jump on the Dinter.
And there we go now with the Unstoppable Force starting things up, and Junie now will pick up the shutdown onto Dinter, and in the meanwhile Safety just zoning everyone out of place. The command shockwave will land, but only on Safety at this point of time, and now Junie on the pursuit, and QTV soaking up damage for the entire lines of Saigon Jokers. In the meantime, Safety will pick up the kill onto the BB, will now use the Cowling to try to repel away, and Optimus did not go down to the last tick of Ignite there. What a close call for him, but that was a 2-for-0 exchange. Very close call for Saigon Jokers, but eventually they came out ahead as the aggressors.
Exactly what SAJ need to do in this game. They really need to control the flow of the Azubu Taipei Assassins. They've been doing that fairly well so far. They've made a few missed plays, but even when they don't make the play that they want, even when they don't get the play that they want, they've been consistently making up for it. The turnaround coming in from QTV, Optimus, and Archie in the second last team fight was amazing. And that fight there from QTV using the Unstoppable Force onto Dinter, and then diving onto Archie and also protecting Optimus. It was a little bit sloppy. Optimus almost went down from the Culling and Ignite, but they were able to stop the last tick of the Culling from taking Optimus down, and good teamwork coming out from the Saigon Jokers to advance their lead.
You know, the longer that I look at this game, it feels like it's a secret strategy that Saigon Jokers prepared for Taipei Assassins, especially for this game. It's like secret dogs for Saigon Jokers to bring out this Malphite and Nuno pick. Those two champions that excel at forcing engages, and so far they have been executing it rather perfectly. And Taipei Assassins now, they have to be aware of what's going on and kind of make sure that the ultimates coming on their end chains just as well, if not better, than what Saigon Jokers can do for them.
Not Saigon Jokers, the Azubu Taipei Assassins here, really out of their comfort zone. We're gonna have Dinter try to solo drag it down the bottom lane with the rest of the Saigon Jokers grouped up around the top lane. If SAJ can make a play right now while he is down to the Dragon Pit, they could capitalize so much on that advantage, but they do not have any idea that he's there. They will trade the Dragon for a tower though, a significant trade for the Saigon Jokers, and so far SAJ have really been playing it out so well that TPA just have no response right now. The goal is fairly even. We saw this in game 2 as well, whereby SAJ were making so many fantastic plays, but the goal was still fairly even because TPA find ways to catch up. But if they can continue to make these plays that they have been making, they should slowly be able to creep ahead of the Azubu Taipei Assassins by a significant goal lead.
Right, it does feel like Saigon Jokers wanted to go for a pick-off in the jungle of the Taipei Assassins at a point of time, but I think Taipei Assassins knew what was going their way and decided to back off. And now, suddenly, Saigon Jokers, they are the ones in the driver's seat. And there we go, Unstoppable Force not going to land onto BB there, and a quick reflex, relentless pursuit will get him out of danger. So that's one spell down on the side of Saigon Jokers. It does feel like they kind of recognize the danger of that, so they will decide to back off from there and play a little bit passively to wait for that to come back up.
Gonna see how the Azubu Taipei Assassins respond to this. Sub 4 should be down just for about another 40 to a minute, so it's 40 seconds to a minute, so it's not too long for the Saigon Jokers to defend from. No Dragon is available for Azubu TPA to pick up, so they most likely go for a siege here. It's not like Azubu Taipei Assassins to go and force a fight or a siege though. We have not seen that from them unless they are about 8,000 gold ahead of the Saigon Jokers in any game so far.
Right, and the thing about, like we mentioned right in the pre-game, is that, you know, they don't necessarily have the best sieging composition, even though Lucian excels at dealing a whole ton of damage. And as we say that now, Optimus getting caught out of position, he just gets stacked right at that spot there with everything being thrown at him. And now Saigon Jokers, now they have to flee for their lives. Safety backing out with the flash as well, and now Junie is surviving with about a quarter of his HP. He will back off from there, and now Taipei Assassins now bringing the hurt onto Saigon Jokers, and with the numbers advantage, I feel like they might be able to just take out this mid lane turret for themselves.
Now it's such a nice fight coming in from the Azubu Taipei Assassins. We saw they didn't force it, they were coming in from Archie, and they were able to lock down Optimus, which their team comp does so well. The Solar Flare, Zenith Blade, Dinter using the ultimate, the Assault and Battery to lock them down was fantastic. Coming out from the Azubu Taipei Assassins is what really helped them secure the kill there and also pick up that mid lane tower. And that's what they've been doing so far in every single game. They need to continue doing that. Pick up the objectives that they know they can take without risking or forcing it against the Saigon Jokers.
Right, and it was almost like Taipei Assassins just pulled a page off the Chinese team calendars, because they were so, you know, they didn't hesitate at all to just blow off one major spell or two to just take out Optimus in the meantime. And now Junie spotting things out, and for Saigon Jokers, this is a rather aggressive move for them, and a very risky one at that as well. And the command shockwave will not be able to kind of take away the Baron buff away from Saigon Jokers, and now we do see Dinter jumping into the fray, but only to go down to Optimus in the meantime.
Fantastic response coming out from the Saigon Jokers. That was a fantastic team fight as well. Clustered around the Baron pit, they were able to pick it up. Azubu TPA did not have time to head back to base to pick up the items and the health and mana that they needed to contest that Baron pick, and they were able to obliterate them there. I mean, we saw that Dinter tried to come in for the steal, was not able to get it, and they were able to lock him down inside that Baron pit, not allow him to escape, pick him up as well. So now they're about 3,000 gold ahead of Azubu Taipei Assassins, 27 minutes in the game. This is the closest game we've had between the two teams so far.
I agree with that, and now with Saigon Jokers having that Baron buff advantage, they might want to go for, once again, just march down one of the lanes, probably the mid lane, and then just force an objective off of that, because now they do have that extra regeneration, as well as that extra attack damage, as well as ability power. They should be able to come up ahead with any team fight, but the concern for them is that they cannot get locked down by any of their team, any of the ultimates that Taipei Assassins dish out onto them. They need to play it smartly.
So Azubu Taipei Assassins, they are on the back foot right now. They need to try and stop Saigon Jokers from their aggressiveness. They have an aggressive team comp, but TPA are not playing it aggressively, and that's the mistake SAJ have been making. They get these aggressive team comps, but they don't use it aggressively. So Azubu Taipei Assassins really not learning from the Saigon Jokers' mistakes here.
That's right, it's a very difficult position for Taipei Assassins as well, because they know for a fact that they could probably take someone down with their stacks of crowd control capabilities, with the solar flare as well as the equalizer as well, and with the command shot, with to try to lock people down as well. But Saigon Jokers, they are playing it rather wisely. They are just spreading their resources apart for the most part of the, especially in the small skirmishes that we have seen. So I think the next team fight will definitely determine something over here, as now we do see Taipei Assassins just hanging on to this bottom lane inner turret. They don't want it to go into the hands of Saigon Jokers.
So we're going to see SAJ will finally group up. They do have that Baron buff, and every time SAJ have the Baron buff, they've been able to pick up an inhibitor or even two, and they were quite devastating with that Baron buff in game one. Junie is on Thresh as well. He was able to land some great depth centers. We see the equalizer will come out from Rumble to try and clear out this mini wave.
Right, essentially they're just buying time for the Baron buff to go out, and then after that they might want to try to force and engage in that one. But now the equalizer is down for Taipei Assassins. We might see Saigon Jokers actually force something to happen, as now we do see Taipei Assassins, they have decided to abandon the defense of this inner turret, and now it does look like Saigon Jokers want to press onto this and eventually get an inhibitor for themselves at least.
We have to see what the Saigon Jokers do here. I wouldn't be surprised if the Azubu Taipei Assassins go for a surprise initiate against the Saigon Jokers, even though they have Baron buff and are ahead about 4,000 gold. I feel like a good team fight and good mechanical and positioning skill coming out from the Azubu Taipei Assassins would be enough to shut down this push coming out from the Saigon Jokers.
Yep, exactly. And between Morning and BB, they still have a lot of wave clear potential. So if Saigon Jokers, they manage to, just make sure that they force the engage, then that is the opening that they need. But Taipei Assassins is very cautious about this, and now finally BB gets caught way out of position, and the team fight now breaks out. Then turn now zeroes in onto Optimus, but with the great amount of peel that Saigon Jokers are able to dish out to him, Optimus will survive, and having that Baron buff taking on him as well, he will be back with no time at all. Once again, the death sentence landing, and Absolute Zero goes down as well. Optimus picks up the kill onto Archie. In the meantime, Archie picks up the kill onto Jay as well, so 1 kills each for both of the Archies, and 2 members now remaining on the side of Taipei Assassins. It does feel like they will not be able to kind of defend this inhibitor push being performed by Saigon Jokers at this point of time, and Saigon Jokers, they will take out the bottom lane inhibitor and they will back off from there. Amazing play coming from Saigon Jokers. They knew for a fact what was the best chance to go in. Junie, once again with the death sentence, just starting everything off for them, and then because of that they were able to pick up the kills, and finally the inhibitor.
Junie got a nice death sentence off onto BB. He did not end up getting taken down, but what SAJ did well in that fight was QTB went in with the Unstoppable Force to zone out the rest of the Azubu Taipei Assassins, and Safety used the Absolute Zero to do the exact same thing. Meanwhile, we had Optimus, Archie, and Junie who got jumped on by Dinter, and only Dinter, the only person that was able to pierce through the front line of QTV and Safety, who then used the Asylum Barrier onto Optimus to try and lock him down, but without the support from his team that was being zoned by QTB and Safety, Archie, Optimus, and Junie were able to take him down with ease and then fall up in a 5-on-4 team fight under the tower. And so far it's been true. Every time SAJ go for a Baron buff and manage to pick up that Baron buff, they've been able to secure an inhibitor, and now SAJ are 9,000 gold ahead of the Azubu Taipei Assassins.
Right, that's a very comfortable position to be in. And speaking about comfortable, QTV has picked out the Deathfire Grasp.
QTV has managed to pick them up. A lot of Malfights, since Alex Itch played him in the IEM Colonies, a lot of Malfights have been going for a lot of that heavy ability power build. We've seen a few Malfights being able to pretty much one-shot a Squishy with that Deathfire Grasp, but he does have that Sunfire Cape and Chalice, so he is a fairly tanky monster at the same time.
It is quite a terrifying thought, man. Like, when the tank comes in and then you thought that he is not able to kind of deal out a lot of damage, and then he comes in with the DFG to one-shot you. That's a pretty terrifying thought, man.
So we're going to see what the Saigon Jokers decide to do next. TPA really are on the back foot. They have not done much to stay in this game just yet. Well, not much right now. They tried some plays early on in the beginning. It looked like they were able to get back, but SAJ have always been able to respond to whatever the Azubu Taipei Assassins have pulled out against them.
That's right. So Saigon Jokers now grouping once again. Does look like their next area of contention will be up in the top lane. And with every single thing up for them, it might look like they want to force and engage onto Taipei Assassins once more. But this time around, they don't have the Baron buff on their end. So what they need to do is just quickly buy time for themselves and let the bottom lane turret all the super minions to do the job for them. And then that's when one of them tries to defend that for themselves, go in for the engage.
It doesn't look like they want to go for this push up in the top lane. The bot lane will naturally push up against the Azubu Taipei Assassins just because they will have super minions pushing into that wave. However, it does look like the Saigon Jokers want to back out and go for the Baron buff pickup, which has just respawned. They're going to use that Dark Passage to get Archie over the wall. Optimus is going to jump over with the Satchel as well. Azubu Taipei Assassins really need to force a fight here to try and stay alive in this game.
Right, so a very risky move here because Taipei Assassins, they know what's going on here. The Calling, and once again, you just simply can't outsmite the Nunu with the Consume as well. So Saigon Jokers, once again, with the second Baron buff of this game, and like you mentioned, they are so dangerous with that Baron buff on them. And it does look like they might be able to take out, once again, another major objective on their field, and that's probably going to be the top lane or even the mid lane, depending on what they choose to go for.
It's going to have to see what the Saigon Jokers decide to do here. I mean, as we said, every time they got that Baron buff, they've managed to pick up an inhibitor or two, and they just proved that true with the last Baron buff they were able to pick up. Azubu Taipei Assassins, though, before SAJ managed to siege for this next inhibitor, they need to start a fight. They need to go for a last-ditch attempt to try and salvage this game. They need to catch somebody off guard and pick them off that way.
And Junie and Jay just having some happy little exchange just right over the wall. And now with Saigon Jokers, they have that bottom lane super minions pushing on the last wave now because the inhibitor has respawned for the Taipei Assassins. So it does look like Saigon Jokers now shifting their focus into the mid lane as well, but you know, with the mid lane being shoved out pretty hard for Taipei Assassins, they might not be able to take it out in time, or they might even rotate down to the bottom lane. So Saigon Jokers now making very quick decisions here. So it does look like they will choose to just ham in and go in for this bottom lane inhibitor.
Good rotations coming out from the Saigon Jokers, able to go down once the inhibitor respawns. And Junior hits on Death Sentence on Morning.
And he just went out immediately without any, in the blink of an eye there. And once again, Morning, his positioning is not really on point for any of these games here. And that's the double kill for Optimus there. And now once again, Junie landing the Death Sentence onto Archie there. And now Safety will be the one to secure the kill with this one. And with 3 members down on the side of Taipei Assassins, they might be able to close out the game for game number 4 here. The first Nexus turret goes down, and it does look like with the amount of attack speed Archie has, he will be able to take out the Nexus turrets. And ladies and gentlemen, we have game number 5 for the semi-final series.